Hey everyone, in this video we're going to continue our review on AWS, and we just recorded this because our live broadcast doesn't have enough internet. Hello. Okay, so it doesn't have enough internet connection, and it's failing because I'm uploading a very large file on a different device. So I'm just recording this, and I'm not sure if this will help anyone, but let's continue. I created a new user called AWS Architect, and this user was created by another account which has administrator access, full administrator access. So it created this user, but then when I log into this IAM user, it defaulted to Sydney, and I'm asking ChatGPT why it goes to Sydney. I'm asking if I create a user, is it regional or global? So ChatGPT said when you add a new IAM user in AWS, it is global. So AWS identity and access management is not tied to a specific region, and all IAM entities, user groups, rules, and policies are managed globally. Global scope, IAM resources, users, groups, rules, and policies are created and managed globally. You need to specify a region when working with. You don't need to specify a region when working with IAM. Regional access, when IAM is global, the resources the user interacts with, like S3 bucket, EC2 instances, or RDS databases, are often regional. What's that? When IAM is global, the resources the user interacts with, like S3, are often regional. You can control access to those regional resources using IAM policies. Sorry guys, I have a flu. So exceptions. Some services or configurations such as AWS organizations can impact global and regional setups, but IAM itself remains global concept. Scope. Globally scope, I mean. So if you want a user to only have access to specific regions, you can enforce that using policies that restricts access to resources in those regions. So the only way um, to specify the which regions this user can access is through policies. And yeah, so before I remove the previous, I recorded this previously, and before I terminated that recording, I created a oh no, I attach a policy to this user, to the group of this user. So the group that this user belongs to is YouTube group, and to that user group I attach a policy, but that is only a read-only policy for EC2. So let's refresh this because it uh, didn't update it automatically. So let's refresh that. And let's see if we already have access to EC2 instances. To EC2. See, EC2, EC2. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Nope. What? So I cannot. Can I search? Let's see what will happen. EC2. Okay, EC2 virtual servers in the cloud. Ding 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 ding. Take a bow, back competitor. Wash them out with buzzing light. Paying agents to get end of month forecast. We don't have access to those. What is this? Diagnosed with a Amazon Q. An error occurred retrieving service health information. Okay, so we do have read access already, but we shouldn't be able to launch anything because this doesn't have any write access. So let's see if we can launch anything. So launch VWX EC2 test. Amazon, you are not authorized to perform the operation EC2 get allowed image settings. Without this operation, you will be unable to validate your allowed AMIs. You need to grant your IAM user permission to use the get allowed images settings in API. For more information, see change permission for for an IAM user, right? Okay. Okay, so change permissions for an IAM user. You can change the permissions for an IAM user in your AWS account by changing its group memberships, by copying permissions from an existing user. Huh? Did I read it right? You can change the permissions for an IAM user in your AWS account by changing its group memberships, by copying permissions from an existing user, by attaching policies directly to a user, or by setting a permissions boundary. A permission boundary controls the maximum permissions that a user can have. Permissions boundaries are an advanced AWS feature. For information about the permissions that you need in order to modify the permissions for a user, see permissions required to access IAM resources. Okay, so I am going to use another account to give permission to this guy. The EC2 get allowed image settings. Okay, so this one. And I will go to add permissions, attach policies. And now I'll create an inline permission. Oh, my flu is getting worse. Okay. So the only way, yeah, I'll just continue with this. Take a bow, back on batter. Wash them out with buzzing. We're going to select AC. I'm by the way in a different window, and I am using an account which has administrator access. That's why I'm not showing this to you. So I'll go to all EC2 actions. I shouldn't have selected that. Okay, so I'll deselect that. I will search for EC2 get allowed image settings. Where is that? EC2 get allowed. Where is the get allowed? get allowed, read. So it's not in the list, so I will go to the read. Get allowed. No, should be on the right. No, it should not be on the right. Right. Permissions management. Tagging. I'll search for the get allowed images settings. And where should I find that? You are not authorized to perform the operation. Easy to get allowed images without this. So where can I find that? Is it in EC2? Should be in EC2, right? Go. Action. Why is it not in get allowed? EC2. Expand all. Get allowed images. Get allowed images. No, it's not here. So let's ask ChatGPT or Q, Amazon Q. Is there an Amazon Q here? Okay, ChatGPT. Saying you are not authorized to perform this operation. To perform get allowed. Non-identity based policy allows. Okay, so let's just ask ChatGPT, where does that belong? Not this one. Okay, this one. Action, where does that belong? Ding 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 ding. And did it. And did it. The EC2 get allowed setting images settings action is related to AWS EC2 Image Builder, a service used to automate the creation, management, and deployment of machine images. This specific action allows you to retrieve the settings for allowed Amazon machine images that can be used within your organization. Where it belongs, IAM policy. This action is part of AWS Access and Management, Identity and Access Management, or IAM policies. If you want a user group or rule to have permission to retrieve allowed image settings, you include the EC2 get allowed images settings action in an IAM policy. Okay. Yeah, I know, but I want to use the visual. How do I do that? Service context. It is used when working with EC2 image builder configuration, typically for setting up image pipelines, ensuring compliance, or managing image settings centrally. AWS organization. If used in a multi-account environment, this account can help ensure that only compliant AMIs are used across accounts by retrieving allowed images or image settings centrally defined in the organization. If you're setting up a service or troubleshooting permissions, ensure this action is included in the policies attached to the appropriate policies or entities. Entities. Rules, users, or groups. Evolve involved in managing or using EC2 Image Builder? Oh man. Alright, so let's try again. Maybe step one. Alright, okay, so instead of EC2, is there an EC2 Image Builder? EC2. Okay, so there is commonly used services like EC2, S3, RDS, but then you need to go to other services. So you're going to EC2. This is using the visual instead of JSON. So you will go to EC2 Image Builder, and for sure there should be an action there that is for list, and no, not in the list. The read, get, what's that? Image settings. Where is that? Get allowed. Get allowed. Where's the get allowed? So it's still not here. Image builder. Okay, so let's try to search again. Where could that piece of action belongs? EC2, 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 EC2 Instance Connect, EC2 Image Builder, EC2 Auto Scale, EC2 Auto Scaling. Nope, it's not here. EC2 about how to find that. Okay, so let's just add this manually instead. So does this thing really exist? Hold on. Okay, easy to read only access. Okay, so the reason you cannot find easy to get allowed images settings in the visual editor when creating an inline IAM policy could be due to the following: unsupported in visual editor. The AWS Management Console's visual editor for creating policies does not always include every action, especially newer or less commonly used ones. Okay, so some actions may only be available when creating or editing policies using the JSON tab. Solution: use the JSON editor, switch to the JSON editor in the policy creation screen, manually add the EC2 allowed images settings action to the policy. Uh, okay, so action may be part of a different service. If EC2 get allowed images settings isn't appearing under EC2 in the visual editor, verify whether it's part of a different service. AWS actions can sometimes be miscategorized. Check AWS documentation. Ensure you have the correct action name. As of now, the action may not yet be included in the EC2 service namespace for the visual editor. Outdated console. If the visual editor in your account is outdated or doesn't include the latest updates, it may not display new actions. Workaround: use the JSON editor to include the actions manually. Alternatively, use the AWS CLI or SDK to attach a policy that includes this action. And correct service name. Double check the service and action spelling. Sometimes a similar action might exist but with a slightly different name. Confirm the action name and namespace in the AWS actions, resources, and condition keys documentation. If none of this resolves the issue, AWS support can clarify whether this action is officially supported or if there are restrictions on its usage. Alright, so the only way to go is to use the JSON editor. Alright, so let's do it. Let's add this to the JSON editor. So let's see. Is this policy fine? Resources where resource is what you call that asterisk again? Oh man. I forgot what's the term for asterisk again. Wild flag? Yeah, I think it's wild flag. Yes, the policy you provided is syntactically correct and will work, but it's important to assess whether using resource per wildcard is appropriate for your use case. Here's an explanation and recommendation. What the policy does: effect allow grants permission to the action. Action is easy to get allowed images settings. Allows the retrieval of allowed image settings. Then resource applies to all resources. So it should be wildcard, right? Okay, so considerations. Resource specifications. The easy to get allowed images settings action doesn't directly operate on specific resources like an AMI or EC2 instance. It's more about retrieving configuration settings. For such actions, using resource asterisk is generally acceptable. List privilege principle. If this permission is being granted to an IAM user, rule, or group, ensure that it's limited to only those entities that genuinely require it. While the action in itself doesn't expose sensitive data directly, adhering to the principle of least privilege is always a best practice. Scenarios where this is fine. If this is part of an administrative rule that manages EC2 image builder or related tasks, scenario where this is fine. If this is part of an administrative rule that manages EC2 image builder or related tasks. If you don't have a way to specify a more restrictive resource scope for this action, as is often the case for settings related actions. Scenarios where you might tighten the policy. If AWS updates the service to allow more granular resource level permissions in the future, if this action is combined with others that might impact security. So, final recommendation: the policy is fine as is for most cases, especially if used in an administrative or trusted environment. However, periodically review and audit policies to ensure they align with AWS latest capabilities and your organizational security standards. Okay, so I believe we can use this. Okay, copy that. And then we're going to add that to an inline policy. Okay, so we will add that to the group permissions. So currently this user, the group of this user only has EC2 read-only access. Now we're going to add an inline policy. So we're going to use the JSON editor and then add this and then click next. The name of the policy is VWX EC2 image builder building policy. Okay, so create the policy. So now the policy was added. Oh no, my naming convention is different, but I think it's fine. So let's refresh this if the policy took effect already. See. So I think it's taking effect. Ding 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 ding. Alright, so next is we're going to select Amazon Linux. Free tier eligible. T2 micro key pair. Do we have a recommended? We have this key pair. I'm not sure if we have. We still have the access to this key pair. VPC is the default VPC given to us by AWS when we created this. When we created our account. So firewall, create security group, select security group, no existing security group, no existing security group, or we have this security group. Okay, so we're going to create a security group. Allow SSH traffic from anywhere. Allow HTTP traffic from the internet. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay, we'll just do it. But we're not gonna launch anything. We're try to launch, but we're not gonna install a web server and launch a website for now. So I think that's fine. Security group. Yeah, I think we can just select another security group. Maybe a large security group basic. Um, Free tier eligible customers can get up to 30 gig of AWS general purpose. Advanced detail, domain, join, directory, blah blah blah. Uh, no, we're not interested in that. Okay, so let's launch. So we're not authorized. So because we only have read access, so we're not authorized to launch. You are not authorized to perform this operation. Is not authorized to perform run instances on resource. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so let's try to add another policy. Okay, for EC2 policy. And then let's check if it will give us the uh, right access. Full access. Okay, so let's just do the full access, and then we're going to remove the other policies that we gave to our user, to our group, I mean. So we added the full access, then we're going to remove the read-only access and the inline policy that we created. Okay, so now we remove the read-only access and the inline access. We only have the Amazon EC2 full access. So let's retry the failed task. Alright, so it created the instance. And then let's go to the instance. Let's check the if there are any ENI. So Elastic Network Interface. So is there any network interfaces here? We have network interface. So we have a network interface. The security group is this security group. So this is the default network interface getting created when you create an EC2 instance, when you launch an EC2 instance. And if you delete this EC2 instance, it's also going to delete the network interface. But you can also add network interface as a secondary network interface, secondary IPv4 IPv4 private IPv4 IP address for this EC2 instance. So we're gonna learn more about and we're gonna digest the concept of that moving forward. But for now, that is just the edge of what we know. Then Um, yeah, so we're going to check how we can hibernate this instance. Let's check. There should be a setting there about disabling enabling hibernation, right? Can we stop this instance? Stop it. Okay, so we stop the instance. So no, it's still initializing, I mean, it's stopping. It's initializing and stopping at the same time. And then we select the instance. Where is that? Where we can enable hibernation. For your instance to be able to hibernate, the root volumes is supposed to be yeah, I think we can just delete this, or maybe we can we're going to launch another one and let's compare. So let's launch another one. um, this is going to be VWX EC2 2. Okay, and then key pair is this key pair, existing security group, select the security group of this security group, and then advanced details, recovery, shutdown behavior. This one, hibernate behavior. You can enable or disable this. This is during creation, but I'm not sure how to do it if you've already launched an EC2 and then you want to enable hibernation. So state, can you edit instance settings, term, is there any hibernation behavior? Instance type. So in this case, you're going to ask ChatGPT again. Okay, so let's ask our guru at ChatGPT, if I already launched an EC2 instance and I want to change the hibernation behavior of my EC2 instance to enable or disable hibernation. How's the spelling? Hibernation. Can I still do it? Okay, once an EC2 instance has been launched, you cannot change the hibernation behavior. Enable or disable hibernation for that specific instance. Hibernation can only be configured when the instance is being launched, and the instance must meet specific requirements to support hibernation. Our alternatives and solutions. Create a new instance, stop your current instance, create a new AMI Amazon machine image from your instance, launch a new instance from the AMI with hibernation enabled during the launch process. Requirements for hibernation. Ensure the following conditions are met when launching the new instance. The instance uses an Amazon Linux, Ubuntu, or Windows operating system supported by hibernation. The root volume is an EBS volume encrypted. Yeah, this is what I'm telling you guys. So with AWS managed or customer managed keys, the instance type supports hibernation, T2, T3, M5, C5, etc. for specific sizes. RAM size is 16 gigabyte or less. Can I ask? I keep on asking what's the difference. What is the difference between N16? Man, I'm so tired to research that thing. Okay, so the difference between 16 gigabyte and 16 so this is gigabyte and this is gigabyte lies in how they are calculated. Gigabyte decimal system base 10. Gigabyte is what is it? This is 1 billion bytes. Commonly used in contexts like hard drive storage and network bandwidth. Gigabyte binary system base 2. Okay. So this is 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. So this is more. Often used in computing contexts such as memory, storage systems. This is for network bandwidth and hard drive, and this is for memory storage system where binary computation is standard. Conversion difference. How to pronounce this? Gigabyte or gigabytes. Pronounce gigabyte. Okay, so let's continue reading. Where is that again? Create a new instance. So this is gigabyte or less. So when you talk about RAM, it should be gigabyte. So disable hibernation. If you want to disable hibernation, this is typically unnecessary since an instance not explicitly configured for hibernation won't hibernate. For instance, when hibernation enables, simply avoid triggering the hibernate action. Would you like guidance on creating? Okay. Okay. So that's the answer. So if we do have an instance running. So this is already stopped. We want to terminate that. Terminate. So if you terminate that, the network interface that was created for it should also be gone already. Once this termination succeeded. Yeah, see? No more network interface here. This one has been terminated. If you refresh, it's still there, but this is terminated. It should be safe now. Elastic IP, this will give you This will charge you if you created an instance Elastic IP and you're not using it. Amazon will charge for it. My son again trying to disturb his papa. Placement group. We're going to review placement group later. Placement group is there's like a spread or what's that other placement group? Let's see. Can you give me the? Can you remind me the list of placement groups for EC2? You hear that? My son's trying to get Papa's attention again. Oh, we have 45 minutes now. Okay, so let's try to see placement group. Yeah, cluster, partition, and spread. Cluster is low latency, high throughput, failure isolation, and fault tolerances for spread. Let's also review this and digest this in the coming weeks or coming days. And now we already have 45 minutes lost in our life, so we're going to stop this recording and get a life. Okay, thanks. Bye. It's still uploading na.